yeah, just wanted to kind of, go over a bunch of stuff that I don't ever see talked about it. So you can decide if it's worth it, because it is a chunk of change. The remote, cheapest I found them is about 60 to 70 bucks, and then cheapest programming is about 45 for me personally. So you're in it over 100 bucks. And what's up, you guys? I want to talk about the remote start hack for the Honda Accords. Here's the remote I got. I have a 2019 Honda Accord Sport, the 1.5 liter, but no remote start. Here are my two stock remotes. I've got lock, unlock, trunk, and panic. That's it. So with this remote, I got this on eBay for, I think, like $67-ish, give or take. I will link the eBay ad that I got this from. I think they have a lot of them. This is an OEM Honda remote, so it's not like some cheap aftermarket one that probably doesn't work that good or won't last that long. But this is the remote only. As you can see, it does not come with the key on the bottom. That is separate. I only really use the one key fob anyway, so I'm not worried about it. So what I'm gonna do is just literally on my main key fob, just boom, put this key in there. So it's like that. So my local Honda dealer wants $135 to program this. This takes 5 minutes. They plug something into the OBD2 port, connect it to their laptop or tablet, program the remote, and you're on your way. That's literally it. This is what mine looks like. It doesn't have like driver one or like the blue logo or anything, because there are different key fobs. I do not know if those work. I'm only speaking on this one, this model number right here, because it worked for me. So I have a 2019 Accord Sport 1.5. It's not a touring, it's not an EX, it's not a hybrid. Mine is the CVT transmission. I believe this works on every transmission except the manual. So far, from what I've seen, the manual does not work for obvious reasons. Anyways, though, my local dealer wants $135 to program that. That is outrageous. I cannot stress it enough when I say it is 5 minutes of work. Couple clicks on their computer, that's it. Call your local locksmiths. A lot of them don't advertise it, but they do this service. They program fobs. Usually if they can program a key, because a lot of cars that, like this one, for instance, this is a transponder key. Usually their software will also program fobs like this because it's very similar. So call them, say, hey, I've got a remote fob. I need it programmed to my, X year Accord. You don't got to tell them, like, I'm doing it because it's got the remote start button. You can, but you don't have to. Like, that doesn't matter. Like, they just program the remote. They're not doing anything fancy. I just wanted to make this video because I know there's videos out there that talk about this and tell you what you got to do, but they don't really go into specifics. So I want to mention some of the things that I had to figure out and work with, because the guys I went to kind of didn't know what they were doing. So my local locksmith that I've gone to before, he charges $45, but his machine is sent out for some upgrades and probably like, software updates or something. I'm not really sure, but he said it probably won't be back till the end of next week. I wanted this remote start working today. So I called another local locksmith. They didn't touch anything that you didn't buy from them. I'm like, okay, well, your loss. I mean, 5 minutes of work for 50, 60, 70 bucks or whatever. I called another dealership. They wouldn't do it, period, because the car didn't come with a remote start. So I called, somebody had actually recommended me Batteries Plus Bulbs, that they do car key programming and stuff like that. And that would have never crossed my mind. It doesn't come up in Google searches when you search, key fob programming or locksmith or anything like that. So I called them and I was like, hey, I was told that you guys program car keys, is that true? And he's like, yep. I was like, cool. So I said, I got a 2019 Honda Accord, I got a fob. I just need it programmed. He said, yep, bring it in. Cool. So I did just that. And you will see right here, just a couple little quick snippets that I stood there like a creep and recorded real quick on my phone. So now, as you can see right now, car is remote starting. So what you got to do, you hit lock and then you hold the remote start button for about 3-4 seconds and your parking lights flash, car starts. Couldn't be any simpler. I love it. I have not got to test the range out yet. I do know that my factory fobs work really far away. Like when I'm at work, like I can barely see my car way out in the parking lot and it's still working. So, you know, I have good faith that this will work pretty far away. It's obviously not aftermarket. You know, you're not going to have any, you know, 4,000 foot range, you know, and work from across the country and stuff like that. But so let me talk about some of the issues we had. So what I'm actually going to do, like this is my main keys right here. I'm going to take this one off and then I'm going to put the remote start one on it. Boom. So as you can see, you know, if you want to do what I do, just buy the fob and then replace one of your fobs with it. That works. So, some of the hurdles we had to get over. First of all, they sent a guy out there with me that I don't think really knew what he was doing, because honestly, and I'm not dogging him, really nice, friendly guy, but you know, those computers just kind of tell you like step by step with pictures what to do. So I don't really think he knew much about troubleshooting or, you know, common things to try, you know, if it wouldn't work. So it was super windy out there. It was hard to hear this guy, but we were out there for like nearly 10 minutes. And all I could see on his computer screen, like he would click something and then it would just pop up with like a red X and like an error. So I'm like, man, it's not going to work. And in the computer, you can see like it says like Accord hybrid, Accord like touring and stuff. So I didn't know, maybe if because the Sport doesn't come with this, that maybe he had to do like a touring model or something like that that has remote start. He finally said his software wasn't connecting to my car. So it was nothing with the remotes, but his software wouldn't basically communicate with my car. And he's like, are you sure it's a 2019? I was like, yeah, 100%. So he said he had to go in and get his other piece of equipment, which was, so the first one was like a box that connected to the car's OBD2 port and then plugged into his laptop. The second thing he came out with was a similar box, but it was connected to a little tablet. So I couldn't really see the screen on the tablet, you know, to see what it was saying. But we were out there for like another 10 minutes and nothing was really happening. So he went back inside, got his coworker out of the back, which, I don't know, the guy seemed like a lot more confident in what he was doing. So he comes out there, he's typing in stuff on the tablet, and then I see him look at the door sticker too, and he changed something, and then I seen him in the machine, there was like a hole that like he was putting the key in like this. Like it was literally just, he was going like that, which I don't know, probably reads like the chip on this or something. So I was like, cool, I think we're making progress. But when the guy came back out, he's like, you know, he had both my keys still. He's like, hey, which one of these keys came with your car? And it was this one. I said, this one did. And he's like, yeah, you know, because this one, it has the remote start button. So it's not going to work with your car. And I was like, yeah. And I hate like telling somebody that they're wrong or whatever. So I was trying to be friendly. I was like, it will. I was like, I believe it's 2018, 19s, and 20s have remote start. You just literally got to program the fob. Like, and then once you program that fob, the remote start works. He goes, oh, all right, cool. So he didn't really question it. You know, I didn't want to be that customer that's like telling him how to do his job or whatever. So the guy had changed something, you know, he was putting the key in the thing. So I was like, cool, I think it's working. Then I seen him holding it by the starter button and, you know, like doing like a sequence probably to initiate like programming or something like that. But then I heard him like, you know, hit the button because it's a very distinct click. And, you know, I've seen the lights flash and stuff. I was like, cool, I think it's working. So he unplugs it. He gets out of the car. He closes the door. He hits lock. He holds the remote start button and it starts. So it worked. So what he did in my particular case, which this might apply to a lot of people, because obviously there's a lot of these cars on the road. My car is a 2019. It's registered, plated, and insured as a 2019. That's what it says right on the title. On the tag, it says it was built in September of 2019. Mine was still considered a 2019 and sold as a 2019, but programming and, you know, computer-wise, it thinks it's a 2020. So he typed in as a 2020 Accord in his computer, and then it connected. So it worked as normal. So if you have like a 2018 that's, you know, maybe in like September, October, or something like that, and it's not working, tell them to try it as a 2019, you know, and same thing with the 2019 and 2020. Also, another thing I wanted to mention, again, you know, we all have two key fobs. I grabbed my normal keys for work this morning, completely forgot to grab these because I was like, if they're programming it, they might need all the fobs there. But I was like, you know, hey, oh well, it is what it is. If one doesn't work, I still have 2 working ones. So when I got there, he's like, do you have all the fobs with you? I said, no. I said, I only have the original one and then the new one. He's like, well, the one that you don't have isn't going to work anymore. And I was like, that's perfectly fine. Because honestly, you know, I was taking the remote start one and replacing one of these anyways, you know, because I don't have the key thing at the bottom. He's like, all right. He's like, you know, just wanted to make that known. I was like, yeah, perfectly fine. I kind of figured that anyways, but I completely forgot. So I get home. And, you know, after we got the remotes programmed, and I confirmed that with the other guy because he seemed to know, you know, a lot more what he was doing. And I was like, so, you know, my 3rd remote at home won't work anymore, right? He's like, yeah, no. He's like, you can try it, but, you know, this deletes the other remotes and then reprograms these 2 or whatever. You know, it reprograms whatever you have with you. I was like, all right, you know, fair enough. Again, no big deal. I wasn't mad. So, I don't know if you guys can hear the beep. My car locked. That's the new fob. Beep. 3rd fob. Which this was not programmed. This was sitting at my house, roughly 30-something miles away. Beep. So all 3 fobs still work. That's a cool thing I found out, that if your fob is not there, it will still work. So I hope this video helped some of you guys out. I know it was kind of ridiculously long, but I wanted to share my story and, you know, show you guys that it actually works and share some issues that you guys might also run into. Hey guys, it is the next day, so I have officially used the remote start, you know, as I normally would going to work. Want to make some notes that I also don't see talked about a lot. Which might not be a big deal to a lot of people. In the summertime, the remote start's going to be really nice. Your car's going to be nice and cool, you know, ready to go. In the winter, which is, for me personally, where it really shines, because, you know, in the summer, you can also hit lock and hold it, and your windows will roll down, which really helps, you know, if you're parked for a long time and it's blazing hot outside. That instantly is going to cool your inside off, you know, even if you don't have the remote start. In the winter, see, I'm in Michigan, so we have a very varying temperature winter. Some days our winter is 45 degrees and sunny. Then there are other days where with the wind chill, it's -30 outside, which is painfully cold. This little 4-cylinder engine takes a long time to heat up. For example, like if you live in a cold climate, start your car, if you turn the heat on just even a little bit, watch your temperature gauge. This thing takes forever, if it even fully heats up, which in my case it never actually has, and I've owned it for over a year now, before driving, obviously. Once you drive in, it's going to generate enough heat to get up to operating temperature. But this morning it was about 35 degrees out, so it wasn't really cold. I mean, it's cold, but it's not like blistering cold. Typically wouldn't have even remote started at that point, you know, because there was no ice, there was no frost or anything like that. But I remote started it when I came downstairs, and, you know, then I let the dogs out, get dressed, and then head to the car. By the time I got out there, the car had shut off. So I was like, I remote started it. So that's also another con right there. Without me physically going to a window and looking out, I can't see the car. I don't like remote starts that make the car honk. A lot of Chrysler products, you know, you'll get like a double horn honk or something like that. But I kind of appreciate it because you know the car started. This thing, there is no noise whatsoever, and it is a tiny little 4-cylinder engine. I can't hear it, even though it's literally parked 2 foot from my house. You know, from the window I look out of, it's 2 feet away. My house is dead silent. You know, I hit the lock, held the remote start button, and I'm like, I heard nothing. So I actually had to literally go open the door to hear if it was running, because also when it's running, there are no lights on. You would not know that this car is on, short of, you know, steam coming out of the back of the exhaust or physically seeing it as you start it. Like when you hit lock and then the remote start, your lights will flash 6 times to let you know that it activated, but that's it. Like no running lights come on, no nothing. So that's kind of a con that I don't like. I would like some sort of beep, even, you know, a chirp, like when you lock it, you know, you get that little beep. or at least the parking lights to be on. But that's minor, you know. I mean, the remote start's pretty fail-safe. Lock it, hold the button. But number 2, though, which I was talking about before, it only runs for 10 minutes. When it's that cold outside, like my interior wasn't even warm when I had got in. And it, like I said, it was like 35 degrees, so it wasn't blistering cold. I mean, the 10 minutes is going to help. Don't get me wrong. You know, it should be warm enough to be able to defrost the windows and stuff. But I just would like to see that extended. I mean, 15 minutes, 15 bare minimum. Like on my other car, which is a Crown Vic, I've got a Viper. It runs for 24 minutes before it shuts off, which that's going to get any car properly, completely warmed up. And, you know, some people argue, no, you don't need to run it that long. It's personal preference. I would just like to see an option. You know, like I said, 10 minutes is going to be great for a lot of people. 10 minutes is going to suck for a lot of people, but, you know, 10 minutes is 10 minutes, I guess. Which brings me to point number 3. You have zero control over the remote start, period. So you can't adjust the time. Actually, let me go back to that. If you want to extend it by another 10 minutes while it's running, you lock it, and then you basically repeat the remote start procedure. Hit lock, and then hold the button again. Your parking lights will flash 6 times, and it extends it for 10 more minutes. I don't really like that because I'm going to have to remember at some point while I'm getting ready, let me go grab my keys again, go look out the window, hit lock, and, you know, repeat the procedure. I don't know if if you can just do it like twice in a row and get 20 minutes out of it, that would be cool. Or if you have to, you know, it only extends it 10 minutes from when you do it, which would be kind of dumb. But either way, regardless, it is what it is. But that leads me to my other point, though, my last point. You have zero control over anything with this remote start. Like most cars, you can leave your climate controls on what you want. You know, if you want the heat blasting at 90 degrees, you know, right out of the vents, you leave it like that. And then, you know, when you remote start, it comes back onto that. If you want the AC blasting, you know, set to 60 degrees or whatever coming out of the vents, you leave it set like that. You know, if you want your heat blasting on defrost and floor or something like that, you leave it on that. This, you have zero control. It preheats or cools down to 72 degrees no matter what. So if it's winter, it's going to be blowing at 72. It's going to be trying to achieve a 72 degree temperature with the heat. If it's hot, it's going to be trying to achieve 72 with the cold, which again, you know, it's better than nothing, but I would like to see some sort of programmable menu or something like that. With this display, the radio, and your gauges, there's no reason they couldn't do that. Also, your seat heaters, if you have heated seats, they will come on automatically. The rear defrost is supposed to, but this morning it wasn't on mine, so I don't know if maybe it didn't think it was cold enough, which it wasn't. So again, you know, I'm not gonna knock that, but that is supposed to come on, I don't know what temperature, but yeah, just wanted to kind of, you know, go over a bunch of stuff that I don't ever see talked about it. So you can decide if it's worth it, you know, because it is a chunk of change. You know, the remote, cheapest I found them is about 60 to 70 bucks, and then cheapest programming is about 45 for me personally. So, you know, you're in it over 100 bucks, and, you know, for some people that's not worth it, you know, if you can't get good range, you know. And these remotes are quoted at 100 feet with no obstruction. I personally think it does a little bit better than that, but that's what they're rated at. So again, guys, I do hope you appreciated the video. I'm sorry it went so long, I ramble a lot, but I wanted to make a video that goes into things that I didn't really see, you know, so I knew what I now could go back and know what to expect, or, you know, give the guy suggestions to program them better, and, you know, answer some questions that I couldn't find answers to without, you know, making a forum account and doing all that stuff. So, all right, guys, appreciate it. See you later.